Hello and welcome to the Handy Capable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Okay, yeah. Back to masculinity, femininity. I know I brought up the one bar. Yeah, I need to think of a code name for the bar, but it's the Hooters wannabe whatever. And I talked about steak, which yeah, I just finished college and I found one job, but then my mom kept threatening me and telling me that I had to quit the job, even though she was the one that told me that since you walk like that, no one's ever going to hire you. And she also said no one was ever going to want me, love me, or marry me. And so picture that in my psyche. She's been telling me these things for years, and since around 10th or 11th grade. And so first she said that no one's ever going to want me, love me, or marry me. But then throughout college, she says I'm never going to finish. I'm never going to graduate. I'm never going to be anything. So then once I graduate, then she's like, no one's going to hire me. Then I found it was a crappy job, awful job, but it was a job. And I had tunnel vision. I was like, get this job so I can just get an apartment, like get my credit score up, get an apartment, get the crap out. That's what I was imagining. That's what I was picturing. But then my mom decided to threaten me because she didn't like the job. And it was to the point where she tricked one of my aunts to come over and she even started crying to make me quit the job. And I didn't know, but like I kind of knew, but I didn't know back in the days. Cause like when she started crying, I'm like, oh my gosh, can she? Because, but at the same time, I I knew if I didn't quit now, my mom was gonna go further. So I was like, fine, I won't go. And I remember I was getting calls from the job, and it's like she told, like part of me was just like, what do I tell them? She was like, don't answer the phone, ignore them. Isn't that rude? And it's like, I need references. So shouldn't I leave them on good terms so at least I can use them as a reference for the next job I apply for? And I'm going to get on the femininity, topic in a minute or whatever, but yeah, I have more gray sheep stories. So I will never forget when she told me, whenever I need your aunt, she comes over. I knew she would come over. Because now you quit that job. No one else is ever going to hire you. And she was like, I made sure that you were going to quit that job. And see, it's like this is one reason why I bring up a lot of my stories, because with sometimes people wonder, how did you date such a terrible person? How did you tolerate being with a person that treats you so awful? Because I grew up being treated like that. So, with Mr. Lockakey, with Mr. No Heart, part of me was just like, especially Mr. Lockakey blackmailed me with his life. He told me that if I didn't date him, he was going to eliminate himself from the earth with like he had the weapon to his wrist in the middle of the street. Yeah, I won't tell, like, I told the whole story in different episodes and everything like that. But then throughout the episode, I don't know, it's just really sad and pathetic because I was, he was older than me. I think it was like 5 or 6 year difference. But he knew how low of self esteem I had for myself, and he took advantage of it. He used my horror story as a weapon against me because I just started my second master's and he didn't think I was going to finish. He bragged about it, love bombed me about it. But whenever he wanted to go out and party or whatever, and I was working on homework. But no, I had to be a good girl. And even with his friends, he would brag about how polite I was and feminine, and even with certain outfits. Because I remember, like, with him, I never really got to go out. And so for me, I'm like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Especially, I dated one guy from the church who my mom was trying to force me. He's happily married now, thank God. But and that I told that story about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's still kind of funny because even though she hit me later after church and everything, but when she forced me to meet my ex with his wife, and I didn't care, she hated me for that, and I loved it. Oh yeah, it's like she hit me, and yeah, it hurt or whatever, but I didn't get, like, part of me was enjoying the fact that she hate, like, oh, when I was just like, yeah, yeah, okay, that's your wife, fine, whatever, because I was like, oh, and I'll dig into that later because, oh, it's like you break up with a guy, but then one of your sisters and your mom continue talking and calling, and they literally try to trick you to go on a date to get back together with him. And he literally dates a girl that it's like, I'm so confused with her still. But he literally dated a girl because he thought that would get me jealous. And I didn't care, so then he had to break up with her. And then he met, I think right after he broke up with her, he met his now wife or whatever. But I just remember his mom. We were about to go to the Alicia Keys concert or whatever. And I forgot what I was wearing, but I was just like, I remember I was in the basement and I heard her telling him, she's so sweet and gentle and feminine. Oh, it's like she'll be perfect as a daughter-in-law. And I was like, this is like our, I think it was maybe second or third date. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, what? And so, but yeah, it's like with quite a lot of guys and their moms, because oh, I gotta tell you about the Z guy. And I would say Z man, but there's one obnoxious, awful, terrible MAGA twin that I no longer talk to because even when it came to race and racism, she doesn't believe in racism. And oh, she's so ignorant, highly uneducated. And oh my gosh, speaking of that Hooters wannabe bar, it's like I was working an internship for him and he wanted to go out of all places to that same bar, and he got wasted to the point where I'm not his type, especially, yeah, I'm black, I'm not his type. Like, there were a few racist things that I've heard come out of his mouth, and I remember she telling me, well, it's like you're his friend, so it's not really racist. He's just telling his truth. Yeah, he's in real estate too. And some of it was based on because he didn't want black people to rent stuff. Yeah, yeah. So when people try to say in real estate there's no racism, be quiet, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. But anyway, this guy got wasted. Next thing I know, he's coming out of the bar. You're so sexy. Oh, I wish I can cram my beep inside your beep. Oh, you're gonna like it too. You're gonna like it too. You're one of those prissy feminine types. Oh, it's like you're so well mannered. You're not the ghetto, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he was right. And I say he was a racist, he's a bigot. And he said so many other things. And I remember his wife just kept trying. Actually, were they? I think they're married, but not traditionally married. I forget. They have, yeah, anyway. They're like together, basically. That's what I remember, all I remember, but well, their relationship's complicated, but I just remember like I'm going to my car and he is just yelling some of the most outlandish things. And I remember they invited me over to do, because I remember that's when I was like, okay, we don't, that internship, we don't need to do that internship. Because I did not feel comfortable around him anymore because he started, like, once I was unlocking my door, since I wasn't taking his offer, he started yelling some more racist things. And I don't think he said the N word with the hard R, but he started saying some, yeah, yeah. When I say he kind of turned right on racism, not all the way to the dead end, but yeah. So anyway, I remember there was a he invited me over to apologize or whatever, and he said, well, "You can't blame me. You're so feminine and beautiful." And it's like, but yeah, I'm plus size. So he says, like, normally I wouldn't be attracted to, I think he called me fat or something, to fat women, but you're just so well behaved and feminine, and you are beautiful. And I was just like, wow, this is an apology. Oh, great. Okay, yeah. Am I gonna get an apology for you being racist? But no, I didn't get an apology for being racist. I just got the apology for him saying what he wanted to do with my body and how he wanted to cram certain things in certain parts. Yay. But, oh yeah, I never finished about the guy at the party who forced me to give him my number and call him because of his no good friend or whatever. But yeah, I did tell you that, and yes, I'm messy with this episode. Right now, I'm working on more than one character or one main character for a few books, and I want to make sure each one has different love interests and different complications within the relationship. So I'm kind of breaking down some of the feminine things that men hate about me, love about me, and or what masculine traits I have that men hate. Because so far, well, first let me finish with that guy. I remember I started getting tired of him because every time I would even mention that because I think I just finished my first master's, and he had an issue with that. And so when I was going to start my second master's, he was just like, no, you just need to start having kids. And I'm like, well, I need to marry somebody. And let's just say I have a strong feeling he was just trying to add me to his collection. But I remember that Mr. Lockakey just started contacting me on Plenty of Fish because, oh, I was never official with this one guy. We were still talking and he was trying to date me, but I never had interest in him. I was never really even attracted to him. He's not my type whatsoever. And it's really funny because, okay, I'll tell the whole story all together in a video, but I remember it was like a month went by that I was tired of him. I didn't want to talk to him anymore. And anyways, because I never authentically gave him my number, he literally would not leave me alone at the party. I would sit down with some people and he would come sit next to me. So then, like, my knees weren't like my disability was more apparent, but it wasn't, and my knees were in pain, but it wasn't the excruciating pain like it was near the end and stuff. So, but I just remember I would get up, move somewhere else. I think I was closer to, I think, the fireplace or something. I remember fire, but then he would come and he was like, hey, and like totally interrupt the conversation at the table. And then he was like, "Oh, so you get to talk to my beautiful lady." And he was like, "Oh, you guys know her? Tell me some things about her." And none of those people knew me. I only knew the birthday boy and girl. I only knew them. And I knew the person that drove me home, the terrible, no good, fake person that they, yeah. It's like, be careful who you're friends with, because even when one of a person that they know deceives you, tricks you, and stuff like that, if you were not friends with them as long, they're just gonna blow it off or not care, and or think you're a liar. Yeah. So anyway, it's like people started thinking I was the weird one because this guy keeps coming over trying to start conversations about me, and I'm like, it's not my party. Okay. It's like, if you guys remember the Chipettes, yeah, isn't it like Alvin and the Chipmunks, the girls or whatever? It's like, it's not my party. I can't cry if I want to. It's like, yeah, I know there was another artist that sung it, but I remember the Chipettes singing it, and that was like one of my favorite episodes. Yes, I'm an '80s baby, but anyway, I just remember every time I got up and moved somewhere else, this guy would not leave me alone, to the point where I'm just like, fine, I'll stay here, stay in the seat. But I try to make sure I chose, it was kind of like a football play. I picked a table with some of the loudest people that would not be quiet, would not, because I think this came from my anthropology education too, because I was scouting the room and the culture of like the demographics at each table and stuff. So I picked the loudest group. And so it worked for a while. But then this guy was like, "Oh yeah, let's change the subject though." So all of a sudden, it would like they would try to talk about me. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And that's one reason why he got. I was like, "Fine, you'll get my number." And because I was I was trying to be like, okay, just chill. This is a birthday party, and I want to get to know other people. But he wasn't going to let me get to know anybody until he got my number. But then after he got the number, he was like, "Oh, you don't need to talk to anybody else now. You just need to talk to me." I didn't want your number to begin with. I don't care who you are. I don't want to know who you are. And with a lot of men with masculine or alpha male, because, and yeah, I want to do a whole series on the definition of masculinity and femininity, because so many men just think that they have to act like barbarians and be like, "She my woman, she's my property," or "I don't care if she doesn't want me, she will have me. I will make her have me." Because this guy did that, Mr. Lakaki did that, but he used my religion against me by threatening his life. He was going to take his life if I didn't date him. Oh, so it's like, what's up with that too? If you guys can let me know what is up with that too, because it's like, as soon as he could find his middle school sweetheart, then all of a sudden I was trash. Even though I broke up with him, but I wanted the money that I lent him, I lent it to him so he can go to job interviews. But then he spent the money on special candy. And so it's like, if he did spend it on gas for jobs, I would not have wanted the money back as much. But since he lied to me and used it for something that, it's like, that's why he went to jail all those other times. Like, and I didn't know until after. Yeah. Well, watch the episodes, because I didn't know until the bland taco party. Catch up, catch up. But anyway, it's just crazy with how some men will treat women, and some men will degrade and treat women like they don't matter, unless they're their property, or they will own. Or they treat them like a queen until they know they have them, and then they feel like they can treat them any old way. And a lot of men, they want you to be as feminine as possible, or first they're attracted to you because of your stereotypical femininity, especially the makeup and dress and everything. But then once they have you, they don't want you to display yourself like that anymore, because that means another man might try to get you. That's what happened with Mr. No Heart. I've already talked about this in other episodes, but yeah, whenever we would go to the grocery store or run errands, it's like if another guy even offered to take the cart back to the cart holder place or whatever, or if something was on the top shelf, or if my hands were full of something because I was grocery shopping or whatever, and they would help, he wouldn't help. And that's one funny thing. He always promised that he was like, I'm never going to be your white knight. He always needed me. But the few times I needed him, one time I needed $20 or $40. No. And this is after someone hit or ran a red light, hit and total, or, well, they didn't total the car, but it cost a lot to fix it. So then, yeah, that's next thing I had to borrow it from my dad and pay him back or whatever. But yeah, that's a long story. But it's crazy with how he treated me. And it was only one time that I needed, but then like I had to figure it out. And I remember I was working, I was working a lot. I think I had, at that point, I was working 2 to 3 jobs. I don't think I was working the fourth one yet, but I remember I went to the Dollar Tree to save money, and I just got protein bars or those granola bar things, whatever. And I ate. One of my jobs was at the school, so for that whole week or week and a half, that's all I ate was the school lunches and those granola bars, and to make sure that I had enough gas money. And because my ex, he, I always had to help him. I always had to help him, but he wouldn't help me. And he kept asking me for gas money. Would keep asking me for gas money. And we'll see. And I know I'm on the right track when more and more people are starting to like my comments, because Jessica Jones put down that guy, like, oh, I think I think I mentioned it in the last episode, but I started this because I keep hearing men, well, I'm messy. This whole series is a complete hot mess. But again, I've been writing different characters for different plots for different novels, and I want to make sure each one has their own personality. And also, while on dating apps, men keep saying, I want a woman that acts right, and or I want femininity, or you better be feminine, or you better be a lady, or you better know how to be submissive. And I don't want a woman that talks back or independent. And if I want a sandwich, I want her to make it. Yes, I've read all of these on different dating apps. And last week I posted on Blue Sky, this one guy wrote me. He's in his 20s, which was so hilarious. But he had the nerve to write me and tell me that something about being my standards don't matter or something, and so he's going to straighten me out. And so I told him, okay, show that message to your mother then. He hasn't replied yet. He hasn't blocked me, but he hasn't replied either, which I kind of find amusing. But anyway, it's just at a point where a lot of men act like we're just supposed to act a certain way because that's how civilization has told us, or throughout the generations and things, that's how the population has evolved. And then how men dress, how women dress has changed. Men used to wear wigs, men used to wear heels, men used to wear very long shirts and stuff, not to the point where they were dresses, but they had more of a dress appeal. And then I know there are, in today's age, some men wear fingernail polish, some, like, men or trans, wear dresses, wear makeup, wear whatever they want to wear because they lived one life and they love the way they look. If they like it, I love it. I want them to be in their happy place. And I don't think fingernail polish should just be like, to me, it's like it's polish. Why is nail polish a feminine thing? And look at DeSantis, he wears heels. He wears heels. And then Prince wore heels too. Some men wear heels because, and I mean, the same reason why they were worn back in the day. And then with femininity and masculinity, a lot of people forget that with the Holocaust, scientists were doing tests on like sexuality and gender and a whole library all across the board on this subject. And Hitler had all of those scientists killed, had all of those studies burned down, burned the entire library down. And so now, especially with the church that I was part of that brainwashed system, and I'm still a Christian, but I'm more spiritual now. But I I understand how people are different. How it's I don't believe it's just man and woman. I believe that, especially when it comes to hormones and even like there's different, like the cells and everything, our bodies are so complex that, and especially like if you look at different tribes around the world, the way they see gender is different. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them. And so I just feel like we were trained to be like this. We were like, I I don't know, it's just to a point where what is femininity? What is masculinity? What, other than the definition? Because a lot of men in dating apps, especially now that they are trying to take over their alpha male, red pill, passport bro, macho, I'm going to take advantage of this woman because I want to type of thing. And it's just like, really? But then they wonder why women don't want to date them. And then a lot of men wonder why it's hard to date when, and or a lot of men tell me that I am not supposed to have standards. I am only supposed to date a man that chooses me, and then I have to mold into what he wants me to. Do you know that's probably why we have such a high divorce rate? And a lot of people only date by attraction. And how a lot of men hate me because I am so hard on dating apps. With dating profiles, there can be men who are conventionally attractive, but if they're conservative or MAGA or Orange Man supporters, no. And or the education, I don't like that I have to have that standard, but most men with high school diplomas put me down for my 3 degrees and 3 certifications. They tell me I'm supposed to care more about having babies, and they tell me I'm not supposed to invest, and they tell me I'm not supposed to start a business. They tell me that I'm not feminine enough because those are masculine things. But thank you so much for listening to the Handy Capable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handy capable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too. And you guys can let me know, what does femininity mean to you? What does masculinity mean to you?